Can you check your peoples? Because he's touching.
Yeah.
What's
Tell
going
me
on?
what's the
Oh my
total
God!
amount?
Look at his hand. He's tucking money. He's tucking money right in his right hand.
Tell me how much money you
He's
have
tucking
on you.
money. He's tucking my money. That's a problem. Can y'all check him?
Hey,
Listen to me. What was your total cash?
He's telling her no. Don't check me.
Listen.
Look at him moving. He's moving. Oh my God! Y'all not gonna check him?
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, former police officer. Today's video comes to us from Charlotte, North Carolina, and it is courtesy of the Charlotte Mecklenberg Police Department. It depicts the exact moment when a CMPD officer, Henry Chapman, was caught by an arrestee, Mr. Moon, stealing $900 of Mr. Moon's cash during transport of Mr. Moon after his arrest on a federal warrant. Now, I obtained the video directly from CMPD's YouTube channel, where you can go and watch all the videos in their entirety. I will tell you there are several hours of videos that I've distilled down to just the relevant portions for the purposes of our discussion, but you should head over to the channel and watch all of them if you're interested. I'm going to give you guys a brief synopsis of what happened, and then we'll watch the relevant portions of the video and we'll come back and talk about it. So back in March, Mr. Moon was traveling in his girlfriend's Mercedes SUV through an area of the University City district of Charlotte, North Carolina. He was stopped by a motorcycle officer for speeding. During the traffic stop, it was discovered that Mr. Moon had an outstanding federal warrant for a weapons violation, and so the motorcycle officer, obviously not able to transport Mr. Moon on the back of his motorcycle, called for an additional unit to transport. Shortly thereafter, Officer Henry Chapman, who was a 15-year veteran of the CMPD, came to the scene to transport Mr. Moon. As is the policy when someone is being arrested, they are searched incident to that arrest. Mr. Moon was searched, and during the search, $8,000 worth of cash came into the possession of Officer Henry Chapman as a result of that search. The cash was bound with a rubber band, which Moon later described as being applied in a particular way. Now, as Mr. Moon was being transported to the team office of the University City Division of Charlotte Mecklenberg PD, he later told officers that he heard the rubber band pop on his money, and he thought that was strange. He didn't understand why Chapman was popping the rubber band on his money. And as a result of that, he knew that the money was being tampered with. He reported to officers that he watched Chapman move his arms around and even pinpointed what he thought Chapman was doing with the money. Now, let's watch the video and then we'll come back and talk about what happened.
Alright, I'm gonna count your money in front of you, okay?
here's big money. We'll put this in the bag for you, okay? Yeah, here. Here you go.
I got you.
Yeah, she's counting it right now.
You're gonna watch me, okay?
I heard the rubber band get popped.
Hold on. Check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Excuse me.
10.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to question you or anything.
Let me count it first. And
No,
then
can you look in between his legs real quick? Well, I think he just put some of my money in between his legs. Okay. Oh yeah.
How much money did you have on you? I'm asking.
I haven't touched it. Can you just check in between his
Sir,
legs?
listen to me.
He's moving and everything. Look, he's moving.
Sir, I'm good.
Sir, listen to me. Tell me how much cash you had on you. What was the amount?
I just want to see. I'm not gonna lie. Can you check? I'm not going nowhere. Can you check your fellow officer for me, please?
Yeah. Huh?
Hell no. He just touched me. I heard the rubber band pop. He told me, oh, I had to look. And he's moving. He's moving in between his legs.
Sir, stand right here.
I'm gonna stand right here, but can y'all please check y'all fellow officer? Please.
What's going on?
Look, he's moving his arm right now.
How much cash did you have on you?
Can you check your
Yeah, I
hands?
didn't.
Can you check your peoples? Because he's touching.
Yeah.
What's
Tell
going
me
on?
what's the
Oh my
total
God!
amount?
Look at his hand. He's tucking money. He's tucking money right in his right hand.
Tell me how much money you
He's
had
tucking
on you.
money. He's tucking my money. That's a problem. Can y'all check him?
Hey,
Listen to me. What was your total cash?
He's telling her no. Don't check me.
Listen.
Look at him moving. He's moving. Oh my God! Y'all not gonna check him?
Listen.
Look
Chill
at
out.
him.
Listen. Come on.
I've been
Let me
cooperating
tell
with
you
you guys
something.
the whole time. I'm not gonna lie. He
I'm
just
not
touching
going to
my
allow
money.
anybody to take your money.
Look at him. He's moving.
But look at me.
Look at.
Look at me. if someone takes your money, it will be a big problem. All right. No one's gonna take your money. I can see his hands. I can see exactly what he's doing. No one's gonna take your money. She's gonna count your money.
There's more money. Watched him touch my money. And you guys
there's more money in here. You're saying that there's more money in here?
But what I'm saying is,
let me ask you a question. Answer my question. Are you saying that there's more money in here?
What I'm saying is, he just touched my money and went through 3 different floor compartments, and I seen him put it in between his legs. I heard my rubber band. I've been nothing but cooperative with you guys. All I wanted you guys to do was.
Watch.
I'm saying, but he already moved and did a lot of different stuff.
Okay, come sit over here.
But y'all already let him move. Like, there's no way. Like, watch. That's crazy. I can't believe y'all just did me like this.
How much cash do you have on you total so I can count it out and we can verify if it needs missing? That's what I'm asking you.
We
Do
can
you know
this right
what the
now.
total amount was?
No, I honestly don't. The money was for a bill. My wife gave it to me. The one that she tried to give me. I tried to give her the money. He said, don't give it to her.
Okay.
Because I went to Wendy's. I got a Wendy's receipt right.
But do you know how much cash you had on you so I can count it out so we can verify the total? Do you know approximately how much you had on you?
If I say a number and I get it wrong because he touched the money, then it's going to be all wrong. But I just don't understand why I heard my rubber band being popped.
I just grabbed it from the seat to give to her.
That's not what you just told me either, boss.
I did. That's what I did. And I handed her the
I'm not going to lie, boss.
envelope.
Have I gave you any problems?
No, sir, you have not.
That's all I wanted to ask, sir. I just don't understand why y'all couldn't. Like, I'm not going. I sit on my face. I'm not going nowhere. I just wanted to.
I'm asking you what your total was so we can count it out. You can watch me count
I'm
it out.
not sure. I'm distraught. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. I didn't even know I had a warrant. I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to like.
So if you.
What's it called? I'm trying to like just like comply with you guys.
I got
but
you.
That just doesn't make sense to the point where like I just watched him. Me and you both watched him move his hands. I watched him tear up. I watched him look at you and tell him like look at you and tell you no, you're not about to. I just watched him do way too much when I haven't been nothing but nice and compliant to you guys. You feel what I'm saying? I'm trying to go along with you guys' protocols and everything. All I've done was ask questions so I know how like to make sure I'm safe and my family can find me and stuff. And it's like I know.
And that's why I was asking you what your total was so we can sit here and count it out.
But
and we can verify that it's correct.
It would have just helped me more seeing that you would have checked him. It's like it's simple.
But did you not see me walk over here?
I did see that, sir. But at the end of the day, none of you guys' body cams is on. Like I know.
Mine is on right now.
But I know for a fact what I seen and what I heard. And then when I asked him why was he like popping the rubber band on the money, he said I was just making sure something. But there's no need to make sure. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's my property. You feel what I'm saying? And I know for a fact the money was touched. But it's a million compartments.
Yes, I did touch it when I grabbed it out of the seat.
I understand, so I don't want to argue with you, Mr. Chapman. I just know what
No, sir.
Okay, so what I typically do is count out everybody's money in front of them so you can see that it's accurate.
The money was altered before.
So when I turn it over to property, you can verify that the total we're counting out now is the total that you're going to get back.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Are you good with me doing that right now?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you can tell me, do you have any kind of idea about how much you would say you had on you?
But I'd rather you count it first so I just know in my head.
But if you tell me afterwards that it's missing, that doesn't verify.
But if you guys would have stopped him within the whole...
If you tell me how much it was now, I can count it and we can verify if it's missing. Okay?
I understand what you're saying, ma'am, and I appreciate everything. But I feel like you guys don't understand what I'm saying. But it's okay, I'm not tripping. You can count it out. I just, like, you counting it out right now would just let me know exactly how much you took. But I'm not tripping anything. I'm not trying to cause any problems or any Miss Casperson. Miss Casperson. I'm not trying to cause any problems. I just know what I know, you know what I'm saying? I know, I heard the rubber band pop. I seen him fiddling. He did not just keep his hands up the whole time. Like no, I didn't. He didn't open the door and say, you can search me. Look, you know what I'm saying? I heard my money. I'm a very great businessman. I just paid bills a couple days ago. You know what I'm saying? I just know for a fact that he touched my money. And then he was adamant about not giving my money to my wife or the cameraman that was with me. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, no, you're gonna keep your money on you, which wasn't a problem. You know what I'm saying? But him touching the money prior to just putting it in I've been listening the whole time. He asked for a small envelope. He didn't put the money in there then. He asked for it just doesn't make sense. But you can do your job. I'm not trying to postpone or like cause a problem. I just want to see how much is missing out at this point.
I want to count in front of you so
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can see how much that you have, okay? 7,
7 what?
7,000.
7,000.
So you're not gonna lie, you're missing.
20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90. 7, 190.
It's around like 13, 14 minutes.
Okay, so we have it documented that you're saying that, okay? Yeah. So you see me putting it all in here.
I appreciate you, Auntie.
What do we say? 190, right?
I wasn't saying that you altered my money.
No, I didn't say you said that, okay? All right. But I said I wanted to count it out in front of you so you can see how much is in there, because when we turn this over to the sheriff's office, it's then going to go to the marshals, it's going to go to the next sheriff's office. So this is us verifying that we're putting all of your money in here.
Can you write my name on there also? Can y'all like I don't know the protocol with that, but like can y'all check y'all like his person? Because like if anything is on him,
Look,
like
sir.
it would be in big. No, I don't.
Look, I'm gonna show you right here. Look at me. Look at me.
All of you guys probably have kids out here. You know what I'm saying?
Look.
So look, this is all I want to explain to you guys. Most of the time, when somebody know they didn't, like when somebody knows for a fact they didn't do anything, they're not finna just, you feel what I'm saying, like let you search them. And I don't have kids, you feel what I'm saying, but I know how that goes because my mom did foster care. So I'm like up to par with all of that. And on top of that, if I didn't do anything, like how me and you been talking the whole time,
yes,
just
sir.
like how me and you was talking the whole time, if I didn't do anything, I have nothing that I'm worried about, you feel what I'm saying? There would be no reason for him to show me his pockets and stuff. Like I know for a fact.
No, I want you to feel
comfortable. I would have
yes,
felt.
yes, sir.
I would have felt comfortable if your colleagues would have searched you at the exact time where I knew where the money was, because I seen you kept going in between your legs, and then every time everybody put all of the attention on me, you kept moving. I don't know if it's in your door. I don't know where it's at, but just like look. I don't even care to find the money, but I don't even care to find the money, but how you know for a fact.
Look.
Right.
Come here. Come, yeah, come here. I'm telling you.
I want you to hold
to come
so
here.
you know that.
Okay. Do you see anything?
No, yeah, look, no cap. I'm not even gonna touch it. It's blue hundreds right here. It's all the blue hundreds are right there behind that receipt. Thank you. All that's my money. He didn't have that.
This is your money?
Yes, I heard him crumble it up. Thank you. All
that ain't my money.
Right? That's my money. That's my money right here.
Sir, you've been watching me that whole time.
I seen you take it. I seen you crumble
Sir,
it up. Just
that
count
is
it.
not me.
If I'm right, it's gonna be around $1,000. If I'm right, and like I told you, I just went to Wendy's. I seen you steal.
No, sir.
If you don't mind, I just want to sit down so y'all don't try to. I don't want to do nothing. All I know for a fact is I know what I know and I seen it. I just wanted you guys to trust me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was just acting a little irate, but I'm perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to expose you.
That is not me, bud.
Brother, I just seen you steal my money. It was no
No,
reason for you
sir.
to pop my rubber band, brother. It was no reason for you to pop my rubber band off my money.
I didn't pop your rubber band off your money.
I heard it. Me and you just spoke about it. You heard him agree to it when I first got. I said, I heard you did rubber band. You said, oh, I had to do something. It's okay. It's okay. I know. I just witnessed here today. Mr. Chapman went in my money. He separated my money. He was trying to steal it, and I caught him. He put it in between his legs, and as his colleagues approached me, he worked it towards the door. He tried to make it seem like I was lying. I'm not going anywhere.
No,
I'm in full custody of these officers. I'm being detained. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want any problems. I'm not armed. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just pulled over for a traffic stop. He just tried to steal some of my money.
Okay, we're hearing you, but there's no need to say all of
No,
that.
I was just looking at the camera. No, I just know how it goes. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to cause.
My camera's on the entire
Yes, ma'am.
time. Alright?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's take it down a notch.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize. I'm
We're
so
good
sorry.
here.
Yes, ma'am. So what are we gonna do about this problem? 'Cause
All right. Okay. So like this is what's gonna happen. All right. We have people coming in. Obviously they have to talk to you. All right. So I'm going to hold on to your weapon right quick. Okay.
Yep. Go ahead. Just take the whole holster off. It's one of them.
QLS.
I got it.
Sergeant Burke and one of his detectives going to come and speak to you. All right. So just chill out, relax. Do you need anything?
No, I just want to apologize to everyone I see, man. One of these things, dude. And I'm sorry.
Hi, brother. Anything to drink or anything now?
No. Just want to say I'm sorry.
Gotcha, brother. Well, we're gonna walk out of here and close the door, okay, until they get there, okay, buddy?
Alright. Let me know if you need anything, alright?
I'm good, Sarge. I appreciate it.
God damn. That's the worst thing I ever done in my life.
One of the things that I found, and I'm sure you found very frustrating about this video, is how hesitant the officers were to listen to Mr. Moon and how protective they were of Officer Chapman during this encounter. These officers, although they eventually did the right thing, because I would argue they really had no choice, they had zero interest in doing an investigation. Moon, you could tell, felt so defeated that he was literally saying he was going to sit himself on the ground. He said, I'll sit on my face. I'll do whatever. I'm not going anywhere. I just want you guys to check into this, and I don't want to be accused of escalating or resisting or anything like that. So it's clear that Mr. Moon has had some interaction with law enforcement that's made him distrust the police, and obviously for good reason. Now, I want to draw your attention to a few interesting things about Chapman and his body language, just to give you some insight into how this stuff kind of works. Notice how Chapman, at the heart of when Moon is accusing him, Moon's standing outside of the vehicle in handcuffs, he's looking at Chapman, he's describing the situation to the officers, and if you watch Chapman and his body language and his chest and his breathing and that kind of stuff as he's listening to the accusations, Chapman is almost frozen with fear and anxiety. You can tell his face is almost like paralyzed. If you watch, you can watch him part his lips a little bit to try to control his breathing. His breathing is definitely labored, and he's holding a piece of paper and you can see him physically shaking. So all of this shaking is as a result of this accusation and what is, I'm sure, an adrenaline dump that's happening to him in the face of this accusation, and also knowing that he actually did it. And as Moon is describing what he thinks he's doing, if you look very closely, you can actually see Chapman moving his left arm. And although the sergeant is heard saying, oh, I can see his hands, it's obvious he actually wasn't looking at Chapman's hands, because in that same exact moment where he's saying, I can see his hands, Chapman is actually moving stuff around, and you can see him dip his shoulder down into the door pocket. And then, of course, as he hears the sergeant make the statement about I can see his hands, he moves his hands up and acts like, oh, you know, nothing's going on. But what we find out later is that he was actually crumpling and tucking Moon's money into the door pocket. But of course, in response to the sergeant's protective statement, his hands go up and, you know, nothing to see here, folks, just a little victim gaslighting on full display. Then what's even more disgusting is as he grows confident that he's going to get away with it, because it becomes obvious that the officers are not going to search the vehicle, he steps out of the cruiser and he's sort of growing more bold in his denial, and he empties his pockets, steadies his breathing, and it's starting to become obvious that he thinks that he's gotten away with it. So he was frozen in fear before when nobody was looking at him except the camera that he forgot was there. But once he felt like he was out of the danger zone and had the money hidden, he was back to normal. But you'll notice that he was blocking access to the car with his body throughout most of the time that he was outside of the car, even standing in the open doorway while the sergeant was looking to make sure that there wasn't going to be like an unadulterated access to the inside of this vehicle. And the sergeant invited Moon to look, and once Moon took a look into the door pocket, which he believed is where the money was being hidden, he alerted to the blue bills, and then it was basically over. One of my favorite parts of this whole video was watching the way that Mr. Moon showed how sharp his sort of amateur investigative skills were in talking about his experiences with his mom being a foster parent and understanding how people conduct themselves when they get caught doing something. And all of that was consistent with Chapman's behavior. He called this thing the whole time, from the initial money being tampered with, building intent by highlighting the fact that Chapman was the one that insisted that he keep the money with him instead of releasing it to his girlfriend, even though he was advised that it was bill money, then to moving the money between his legs, and then to moving it over into the door pocket. And he was 100% correct about all this stuff. Any honest police officer would tell you that they never want to have to deal with that much cash. Any officer with pure intentions would much rather the responsibility for that money get shifted to someone else. That's why they normally count it before and count it after. That way everybody can be on the same page and nobody gets accused of taking it, because nobody wants to be accused of doing what Chapman did here. A side note though, had he been arrested for anything that they could have tried to anchor to criminality with him being in possession of that much money would have resulted in him losing that money permanently, or at least there being some due process hearing about asset forfeiture. But since he was arrested on an outstanding warrant that they couldn't tie to that money, they really didn't have an option of doing that here. Now they do end up disarming Chapman, and the internal affairs detectives come down and interview him, and he admitted to taking the money, though he denied that he intended to steal it. I mean, look, there's a reason that when a person conceals merchandise in their clothing, even before they pass a point of purchase, they can still be charged and convicted of shoplifting, because the logic goes that there is no pure or innocent motive or intent that can be established for why a person conceals something prior to purchasing it in their clothes. And it's more obvious in a case like this, where the person is standing in front of you, looking you in the eye and accusing you of stealing, and then magically the exact thing that he said you were doing and the exact location he said you were hiding it happens to be exactly how it unfolds. And oh, by the way, it was all on camera and somehow you weren't going to steal it? Fuck out of here with that nonsense. Anybody who believes that garbage is in the market for some oceanfront property in Arizona. The way his confidence grew after he thought he was out of the woods makes me wonder how many times he's skimmed money off forfeitures and stuff in the past. Now, they did end up charging Chapman with embezzlement under North Carolina law, so I don't know whether under North Carolina law and under relevant case law, a police officer is considered a public officer. I do know that there was a case back, I think in the mid-2000s, where a sheriff was convicted of this, but again, a sheriff is an elected public official, so I'm not really sure whether a regular appointed police officer vested with law enforcement powers is the same as far as a public officer. It would take a deep dive into North Carolina case law, which really isn't relevant. Okay, so as we can see here, an F felony, because it's under $100,000, the presumptive sentence is between 13 and 16 months. And so this would probably be something that he would get probation for. He probably doesn't have any sort of criminal record, or if so, it would be very minor. So more than likely he will be eligible for probation, and he's looking at a felony record and a sentence of 13 to 16 months presumptively. At most, he's looking at somewhere between 10 and 20 months of a sentence of some sort of probation or potentially incarceration, depending on how the judge views his circumstance. In closing, I think actually the most heartbreaking part of this whole deal is watching how much grace Mr. Moon showed, not only to the officers who refused to initially listen to his concerns, but even to Officer Chapman. He actually apologized to Chapman for exposing his dishonesty and corruption, which blows my mind. That's what's so disgusting about the whole us versus them thing, is that there are good, honest, genuinely decent people who find themselves sometimes on the other side of the law. It's why I don't have a problem doing criminal defense, because everybody who is charged with and or convicted of a crime is not a bad person. And as we can see, Chapman got all the sympathy here. He got the benefit of the doubt that he didn't deserve initially from his fellow officers, even though in hindsight it was obvious what he was doing, and Mr. Moon was exactly right. Blocking the door of the cruiser, moving the money to tuck it in the door, gaslighting the victim, all of that. At the end, even after everybody knows the score and knows what he's done, he gets the sympathy of his co-workers, even as they're disarming him because it's obvious what's going to happen. They're sitting around consoling him as if they just found out somebody he loved died, or he just suffered some tragedy. Even the victim is apologizing to him. And I guess the most disturbing part to me, aside from the sympathy shown to Chapman and all of this, and none really shown to Moon. I mean, they did issue apologies. The female officer, Casperson, did, and the sergeant later did, but it wasn't nearly the level of sympathy shown to Chapman. It's how the arrestees concerns were initially fielded by the other officers that really is disturbing. I'd kind of like to give CMPD at least some props for doing the right thing and actually charging one of their own officers, but consider this. It's June of 2024. This happened in March of 2024. Chapman was allegedly charged and resigned within days of this incident happening, and we're just now hearing about it. So what does that tell you? The video was released yesterday. And why, you might ask? Well, according to one of the local news outlets, it was pursuant to a judge's order, which means that the reason we're just now hearing about it and seeing it is because they fought tooth and nail to keep it from being released. And they only released it when they were ordered by the court to do so. So the best they can get in my eyes is like a C- for doing the right thing here, because the department's inclination, as it typically is, was more bent towards a cover-up than it was towards transparency. While they did ultimately do the right thing, investigated and charged their own officer, they did everything they could in the immediate aftermath to cover it up and keep it from public view. Again, I'm glad the officers eventually did the investigation, but they get no credit from me, because if Mr. Moon hadn't been so adamant, they would have never searched and he would have not been believed. And what is so toxic about this sort of mentality about this team versus that team or us versus them, and it's why I hate identity politics so much, because less focus is made on the person, the individual, and more focus is made about what team you bat for. So the merits of the person or the situation has nothing to do with it. It all depends solely on what team you play for. If you're on one team, you're a good guy, and if you're on the other team, you're a bad guy. And both of the teams feel that way, and we are so polarized and tribal in this country, it extends all the way from the regular population down to law enforcement, and this is it. This is us versus them. It's the blue line gang strikes again, and if you're not with us, you're against us. Sometimes it's justice, and sometimes it's just us. And that's the way they actually feel. And the sad reality is our communities would be a whole lot safer and better places to be if it were guys like Mr. Moon wearing the badge instead of people like Henry Chapman, who was willing to use his office to steal from a family. And I just cannot get over how kind and how much undeserved grace Mr. Moon extended to all of these officers. It's devastating to know that such a decent human being was being treated so poorly. And people can say what they want, but none of them believed him. They were literally on the verge of being righteously indignant at the fact that they felt they had no choice but to search the car. And I could tell they were fully expecting to find nothing. Anyway, that's all for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. Leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself.